agency, so my whole plan of unplugging while going on vacation may not work so well.
By the way, are Max and Stephen A going on vacation? Because I went on their show this morning, and they sound like they need a vacation.
I saw that.
Yeah.
They were mean to each other.
Yeah, I mean,
It was great to watch.
I don't know if it was an each other situation.
Ooh. Fair point. But up first are the Lakers. Because the sun has set on the Isaac Bonga era in Los Angeles. After dumping 3 bid players on the Wizards yesterday, Bomani, GM Rob Pelinka has finally found the $32 million needed to sign a third max player alongside LeBron and Anthony Davis, who also gave up $4 million in trade kicker money to make all this happen. So I ask you this, are you optimistic that the Lakers will go get themselves one of these top-level stars to round out a trio?
No, I am not, and I also think, though, that might be best-case scenario for them. So what are we calling a top-level superstar here? Like, are we talking about Kawhi Leonard? Because you have to remember that there's only one basketball, right? And so this idea that Kawhi Leonard just wants to be on a team that is really going to be headed by LeBron James, and then his man, Anthony Davis, is coming in, and now you want to be, if not the third in terms of how good a player you are, maybe the third in terms of the hierarchy. It's hard for me to buy that there are that many guys that are willing to sign up to play for that team like that. But if you can go get you some pieces with that $32 million, you could probably do more, because who the hell plays for the Lakers after these dudes?
It's going to be possibly 10 guys on minimum contracts, the least amount of money paid to that many players, I believe, in NBA history. But if I know LeBron James wants to get a third star. He wants to go get Kawhi Leonard, ideally. He would love to get Kyrie Irving, it sounds like, still. But if you are going to go the route that you suggest, and I think is reasonable, maybe fill it out with Danny Green or keep Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, go get Patrick Beverley, something like that, Trevor Ariza, you're getting back into the front office team building approach. And this guy, despite freeing up all that cap space, albeit belatedly, do you trust him to manage complex situations like that? Because I still don't in the case of Rob.
No, I don't trust him to go get this superstar either. I don't trust this dude to do anything. It is amazing, by the way, that Lakers fans now all of a sudden trust this dude when a month and a half ago you were like, yo, who is this clown that we got running this operation, right? They're all on board with this. But something I think that is interesting that's happening now with the NBA free agency that feels different than as recently as like 5 or 6 years ago. You don't hear nearly as much now about that veteran that's willing to go in and just take the mid-level exception so he can chase that ring. Those old heads that you can go out there and get like a Ray Allen, like Miami did at that point. How many guys like that are left that you can get at a bargain that you used to be able to get to fill out your roster before? I could be wrong, but it feels like that phenomenon isn't at play now.
Yeah, right. David West would be another one of those guys that the Warriors got who would love to ring chase, as we pejoratively have described it. But to me, this is still all about what LeBron attracts, because this is all about LeBron. The entire point of this Anthony Davis trade, by the way, was not that it was a victory for Rob Pelinka. It was a victory for LeBron. LeBron got Anthony Davis here in one of the most engineered pathways to a super team we have ever seen. And now really the question is, who wants to go play with LeBron? And so if you're Kawhi Leonard and you just led your team to a title, are you really going to be the third guy on a team? I share the skepticism on that. I don't think that's the best fit.
Please don't think I didn't notice that you just slipped back in and made LeBron James the general manager again.
Oh, more than that.
You made him. Oh, so now we're back. After you had to realize, wait a minute, no, he doesn't run a thing. Now he's back in charge?
I think that LeBron James has more influence over this team than any other player has had ever. And it's not because of like the machinations even in the past. It's simply because LeBron James has him, and he has Anthony Davis, and the rest of the roster is a blank slate. And so I imagine that when it comes to the GMing of a team, the filling out of the roster, they're going to turn to him and say, who do you like? And he's going to provide some names that he likes.
Are you sure that this team that resents the idea that LeBron is in charge is really going to hand it over in this way you say?
I think the Anthony Davis trade and the price they paid
just for this. Is this based on any fact, or are you just going back to see I was right all along?
I am kind of going back
to Up next is Michael Jordan. The Hornets owner decided going into the luxury tax to pay Kemba Walker wasn't worth it, meaning his team will probably be terrible next season, but will certainly be more profitable. Rarely does an NBA team let a player of Walker's caliber walk without trading him or offering him as much as they could. But that's exactly what's happening in Charlotte. Pablo, should Jordan be willing to pay the luxury tax to keep the franchise's best player?
First off, man, I guess he is. Is Gerald Wallace out there like shaking his fist at the camera? How dare you?
Is he a Hornet or just a Bobcat?
I guess he was a Bobcat. But anyway, the point is, Michael Jordan should not want to pay all of this money to Kemba Walker, even if Kemba Walker is the best player in franchise history. But by the same token, we should be wondering, what the hell is Michael Jordan doing? Because the last year, he had the opportunity to trade Kemba Walker. And this is how it goes in the league. If you have James Harden and you are the Thunder, if you have Anthony Davis and you are the Pelicans, go down the line. You get something when you know a guy is maybe not long for your team.
The only thing I could say maybe on that is they need to sell tickets. Like teams that are in that range of that market size and everything else, when they're bad and they're on downswings, it really hurts on the bottom line. That's the only explanation I have as to why they kept him rather than trade him, especially if it was going to reach this point where they were going to be offering reportedly less than Boston is offering, and you had the opportunity to pay him way more than anybody else could. But he's still making the right call by not paying him. Right? That is absolutely 100% the move that they need to make, is to not pay him, because he's not going to make them good. And if you're going into luxury tax territory to be what they are, oh, baby, you hustling back. So this is the way to go about it. I just don't really have a great idea what exactly it is that they're going to do next, because this isn't like the 7 years ago Bobcats, one of the worst, when they were the Bobcats, one of the worst teams that's out there. They're just kind of like around. They're just in the league.
They're in the league, and they have the most famous player in league history as their owner, and it all seems like a huge wasted opportunity. I mean, you know that part of the country better than I do. How did we get here? How is it that we have a team, by the way, that is still going to be in the luxury tax even if they leave Kemba Walker aside? How did we get to a point where Charlotte cannot seemingly sustain a competitive franchise?
Oh, it's easy. George Shinn messed it up for everybody. Everything that happened at the end of the George Shinn era, you forget that they were selling out a 23,000 seat arena every night when they first got there. Then George Shinn blew all the goodwill on this, and my man Rod in Charlotte always makes this point. They didn't just get mad at George Shinn when it all went bad. They got mad at the whole damn NBA. And then the NBA gave them back a team, and they're like, all right, kinda. But to be fair to the fans in Charlotte, they haven't had a team good enough to really justify the idea that you're going to show up and dole out your money to go watch them. The other thing you got to remember about Michael Jordan, he's really famous and kind of rich, at least as it relates to the other owners in the league. He only stands as kind of rich. So we're like, whoa, he's the greatest player ever. Why can't he get this straight? Because that's not really what this is about.
And that's the interesting forecast when it comes to guys like LeBron, for instance, becoming an owner one day. Because Michael Jordan might well be a billionaire. But Steve Ballmer or Joe Tsai, the Chinese guy who runs the Nets, these are the richest people on the planet.
Yeah, but I mean, LeBron's got a good head start, you know. Coming up next, could you see Klay Thompson leaving for L.A.?
High Noon is brought to you.
Gonna do. Here he is wearing a Blue Jays jersey in Barbados, and here we are inexplicably zooming in on his chest hair.
What it do, baby?
Whose idea was that?
Look at that.
Why? I just don't understand.
Taco meat, you know.
By the way, for those who have forgotten, the 1980s Toronto Blue Jays, never has more activator been used to win division titles than I've seen. The light blue jersey, that was all. Their souls were aglow.
First quote. If the Warriors don't offer guard Klay Thompson a max $190 million deal on Sunday when free agency opens, he will listen to both LA teams, the Lakers and Clippers. Tweeted Brad Turner of the LA Times. So, Bomani, do you expect the Warriors to take care of Klay?
I kind of feel like they're in that situation where they kind of got to take care of everybody, except if they do that, they're going to have a team where they can't afford to fill out the roster, and they're going to be paying for what happened before, not what's going to happen down the line. But I feel like for the Warriors, it would be a horrible look if they did not offer him that money, because they can't get any better if they don't bring him back, even though he's hurt.
Yeah, and Klay Thompson wants to be taken care of. I mean, even if he doesn't really want to leave, he seems to want to demonstrate, I am more than what I have shown. I can do more than the job that I was asked to do. Because the last time we saw him, let's keep in mind, when Kevin Durant was out, Klay Thompson was incredible. Klay Thompson had the best finals of his life. He was shooting 57% from three, and he was dribbling. We didn't know if Klay Thompson could really dribble, but he was doing all of that, and I imagine the ACL is something that he can come back from.
But do you think this is really a matter of I want to show that I can do more? I mean, this is a dude that scores 60-something points in 3 quarters, right? Is it that he wants to show he can do more, or he just wants more credit for what it is that he's doing? Did he finally make the all-defense team this year, or did he miss it again? Because I think he missed it again.
I think he missed it.
Right? He wanted to. You saw what happened when he found out that he was not all-NBA. Like, he is not getting the credit in that way. But the one way you can give him the credit is by paying him every dime that you're allowed to pay him. And if he goes to the Warriors and they say, we're not going to give you that, they can say, we're going to give you 189.999. I'm telling you, my guess is at that point he would walk. Not over the money, but the principle, Smokey, the principle.
And the principle is crucial here because Klay Thompson, beyond feeling disrespected, the guy tried to save the season without a functioning ligament. As unpopular moves would go, Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant, incidentally, are both as popular as they've ever been because he had that heroic Willis Reed moment that was actually more absurd the more I think about it.
The truth is, if this were a football team, they'd start tearing this thing down. Like, football has a different attitude about this. You look and you realize that these guys probably aren't going to get better. You look at the salaries they have, you start tearing that whole thing down. That's not how basketball works. We got one example of somebody trying to tear down a team like this, and that was Jerry Krause. And he never lived it down, but he didn't have the wrong idea. This core is not going to get better. Quote. Bottom line is that we had 7 perimeter guys. The pieces just didn't fit. Says Celtics coach Brad Stevens to Jackie McMullen. Pablo, what do you make of this admission?
Kyrie Irving can be an indecipherable, strange person, but Brad Stevens is saying that on this, he gets it. He wanted the ball more. All of these guys wanted to do the job that they are best at, and all of these guys had egos that said, wait a minute, I hate the fact that I can't be the person that I thought I was going to be on this team. And that is more about fit than it is any of the third eye weirdness that has been surrounding Kyrie lately.
All right, so here's the thing. The fit part is absolutely correct. And I hear in that a little bit of talk to the guy that gave me 7 perimeter guys, which is a fair point to make if you're in this place. However, Stevens still has some measure of culpability on this one because managing the personalities of this team falls on him. And the question remains whether or not this guy who got his start coaching at Butler can deal with the personality of an NBA star. He does a good job coaching up overachievers, whether he can coach those guys that are already there. Like, it seems that he bungled it in how they dealt with Gordon Hayward, for example. Like, this is a job unlike any that he's had previously. But he is right. 7, not just 7 perimeter guys, 7 guys who reasonably should have assumed that they would get shots.
That's it. It's not just that they were guys who played the same position. It's that these were all guys on their own version of a come-up. Terry Rozier was on a come-up. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, go down the list. Even to the Morris that they had. These are all guys who had a mark that they needed to make financially or for ego reasons. But the question of whether Brad Stevens is a wartime or a peacetime coach, I think, is an instructive one. Because this guy is as good as anybody out of timeouts, X's and O's and all of that. But we talk all the time. Ego management is the key to this stuff.
But on the other side, because I do think we have to look at him, but if I was going to make the argument to defend him, who's managing what they gave him, right? Who's like, this isn't just about managing egos. This is about managing the fact that I am a basketball player, therefore I want to play basketball. Ainge gave him a roster that is a silo for assets. He just figures, hey, I'm going to take an asset no matter what it is, I'm going to store it, and then I'm going to figure it out. And then he didn't make any moves with it. But look, Tatum, Brown, Gordon Hayward. Who else are we talking about? Marcus Smart, right? Like, you almost forget that he's there. Yo, man, all these guys are either going to make big money, making big money,
or want to.
You got to balance this stuff out, and I don't think that is possible. So it's on Danny Ainge. Your rotation needs to be 8 players, right? 5 starters, a guy that can run point, a guy that can play a swing on the perimeter, and a guy that can swing between the 2 big positions. And oh, by the way, you lost one of the big men you had because Al Horford's out of town.
Yeah, there was some I just work here from Brad Stevens.
Coming up next, would you give Kevin Durant the max? All right, here we go. Some juggling going on.
Hardcore fans of our show may remember the time that we tried to juggle.
I'm impressed.
Did not go nearly as well as this.
I do recall me being better at it than you.
I recall neither of us being good at juggling,
I recall being better than you.
We're going to have to review the videotape on that claim.
How about we start doing the alphabet backwards, huh?
I have already lost enough money to you. But I feel like if we cooperated and trained over this, set of weeks coming up, we could do that.
Yeah, you give it a try. By the way, apologies to Klay Thompson, who was second team all defense. We did not give him his flowers. Somebody did, finally. He still won all his money.
Shout out to him. First number, 85. That's the percentage of NBA players who don't last more than 2 seasons after their return from an Achilles tendon rupture, according to a leading Achilles expert from Northwestern University. Bo, is this a lot more dire for Kevin Durant than we've been assuming?
No, this would be dire for a lesser player in that way. He's not going to be out of the league in 2 years. Wesley Matthews is still in the damn league, and he tore an Achilles and then went and got paid afterward. That's why, look, Kevin Durant's going to get, if somebody was willing to go give Wes Matthews some money after he tore his Achilles, you have no problem thinking Kevin Durant's going to get his. My concern, though, is not that it's dire. My concern is that a guy like Rudy Gay, for example, after tearing his Achilles, has been roughly the same caliber player because he improved his shooting to make up for the lack of athleticism. How much better is this guy's shooting going to get? Well, he's still going to be really good, but I don't know how he's going to account for the decline in athleticism.
What is fair to say, though, is that he is still worth the max. He is still worth the max because the max contract is a salary cap on the most talented players in the league. And Kevin Durant, despite all of the hobbling he is doing there, may well be the most talented player in the league. And I will remind anybody who is skeptical about waiting a year for something like that. Teams have tanked for a lot less. If you can ensure that Kevin Durant is coming on the back end of a year, a lost year, my lord, is he still worth it?
No. I mean, I do think the max salary and the way it's put in place, people don't realize what a dude like Kevin Durant is actually worth. He's probably worth about $80 million a year if you don't have that in place and you just went by market value. That's probably what a guy like that would wind up being worth. So, yeah, putting him on the pine for a year, if he comes back and he puts up, 25 points a game?
Sure.
When he comes back, he's still worth the money that he's ultimately going to get paid, I think.
And the footnote on this Achilles expert is that he does say if you make it past the 2 years, you tend to resume the performance that you had before. So it's not all just nightmares.
Well, he's also in his 30s now, so this resuming thing.
Yeah.
Let's see. That's number 23. Because that's Anthony Davis' new number after LeBron James gifted it to him. Pablo, is this a magnanimous gesture or simply a way to sell more jerseys?
I think it's both, and it's brilliant, and it's classically LeBron, because I did not realize truly in this way that you could just pull a lever like this and money just spits out into the air. Changing a jersey number is the easiest way to make money for yourself and for your employer, and now here LeBron James is doing something else on top of it. When he pulls the lever, he's changing the narrative. LeBron and his people love to storytell, and what he is doing here is saying, the last year that I had, the first year I had with the Lakers, that wasn't really it. Now we begin.
Yeah, I think the jersey sales part is irrelevant. I'm not even sure the players get like an individual cut of that in that way. Like, I don't think LeBron, all that money that LeBron got, I don't think LeBron's like, yo, now let's go sell some more jerseys.
The Lakers might like it.
Yeah, the Lakers might, but I mean, I forgot you think LeBron is the GM. So, like, with Anthony Davis, though, it's cool. Give him the number that he wants. It goes over. Okay, LeBron really has nothing to lose from there. Some people try to hypothesize whether or not now he'd get 2 jerseys retired like Kobe did. No, he won't, because Anthony Davis, if they win a championship, Anthony Davis, 23, is going to be retired. And maybe Kobe will say it's okay to retire LeBron's too.
But I do think that this is LeBron being a guy who once told me that he wants to be a superhero one day. There is something to the bonding between LeBron and Anthony Davis that a jersey handoff makes real and permanent in the silly way that we turn all of these guys into superheroes. He is saying, hey, here's the cape, you wear this one, I'll go back to being the Miami-type villain, because he's going to wear 6, is what that cryptic tweet that he sent out last night is indicating.
You think giving him the jersey is a cape like a superhero?
Oh, that's what it is, man. This is a big deal to fans. This is a branding thing, and it does signal something about these 2 guys being the top of the mountain, ruling and looking down on everybody.
Have you met the fans that actually care about this? Because I feel like this is just something we're talking about on TV. Does anybody really care?
The stands, the Kobe stands.
So these are like hypothetical fans. Have you talked to any of them?
They're real. They exist.
Have you talked to any of them?
I saw them on Twitter.
In closing, I was very loved by my parents. I really was. But I don't think they ever threw me a birthday party cracking like this. Look at this. Shout out Cortez. Cortez, anywhere to watch this. The dogs are having a pool party. And and by the way, this is like a dog camp. So this is not a pool that people are in.
That was my question.
You can't. Some people just got different standards of cleanliness than others, and they would be okay with this. You know how they be kissing their dogs and stuff.
Yeah, I think chlorine does a lot for people, but this would be a little bit too much in terms of the, disinfectant nature of it. But I do love to imagine our producer Ryan Cortez in Miami in a pool like this surrounded by dogs.
So how long the dogs got to wait before they jump in the pool after they eat? And after they get out, like, do dogs get ashy? Because I imagine the pool, like, that seems like a recipe for being super ashy.
Yeah, I feel also like no one told these dogs, don't pee in the pool. I feel like they're going to do all sorts of things that we would.
Oh, no. I guarantee you somebody told them don't pee in the pool, because the people that run a place like this are the type of people that think that you can talk to dogs. I'm sure they tried it.
By the way, there is like around the block like a CBD for dog treat store. Did you see that? I'm just saying, like, dogs are living lives of luxury in 2019 that I did not appreciate. I'm also curious as to what that might taste like. I mean, if it works for dogs, why wouldn't it work for us, is my point. Anyway, in closing, Bomani, I hope these guys didn't hand over a big security deposit when they rented this apartment.
Stay hot. Why are you so hot?
Well, that's what she said.
No, anyway. I don't mean like the good kind.
No.
I'm taking a census here, and it's not that guy I'm looking at. No, it's not him. I almost thought it was him, but it's not him.
Oh, I know you're talking
about. That
about.
guy here. It's that one that just came through the door.
Yeah.
That's why people told you not to hang out with them.
Because
they be out here doing stuff like this because they think it's funny. I'm telling you, at the dorm when I was in college, after this floor dries, somebody's getting rocked.
Expelliarmus!
Highly questionable coming up next.